From the studios of Blackwater Media in the city of Atlanta, I'm Dr. William Lester, and it's time for another edition of Swamp Chat, which of course is news, notes, and updates on all things Blackwater Media. Now, I'm going to get a little sip of iced coffee here, so bear with me, of course. I want to start off by saying thank you to all of the subscribers to the Blackwater Media YouTube channel. That continues to grow, and it continues to spread and expand the scope of reach and influence that Blackwater Media has. So thank you. And of course, look, there are lots of people who listen and follow along on Facebook. Of course, the Blackwater Media Facebook page is kind of the Facebook hub, but these shows, Blackwater Media shows, end up all over Facebook because, of course, I share them, for example, on the American Institute of Metaphysics Facebook page, of course, on the Paranormal Society Facebook page. Let me kind of cross-stitch those three things for people who may be Blackwater Media fans and don't know the extent to which these things get networked out. Well, I own and operate and run an organization called the American Institute of Metaphysics, which is basically an educational entity which has been in existence since 2001. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, just go on over and look at the Facebook page, American Institute of Metaphysics. They're all linked. Blackwater Media, all of these pages I'm referring to are linked. And you can see, I'm sure you'll see things of interest to you if you are a Blackwater Media fan. Similarly, the Paranormal Society Exchange is another linked, related, and interrelated page where you will see Blackwater Media content. That is a page that is simply set up for people to share, discuss, and interact on paranormal topics. So it's a great little community to be part of. So if you are a Paranormal Society member and you are just kind of hooking into what's going on with Blackwater, hey, come on over, check that out. And so the whole point is that Blackwater Media content is kind of circulated on Facebook in that manner, and of course on other related Facebook pages that I don't own or moderate. So those are the big three on Facebook: the Blackwater Media Facebook page, the American Institute of Metaphysics Facebook page, and Paranormal Society Exchange Facebook page. Now, I had a great sip of iced coffee. Now, of course, as was a tradition way back in the days of At My Desk, I'm going to take a minute to light my pipe, so please just enjoy. Something fantastic about how that smoke wafts into the air on a Saturday. So let's do a little catching up updates. First of all, if you go to the YouTube channel, if you go to any of the Facebook pages that we just got through talking about, you will see a newly uploaded Darkfall Anthology 3. It just dropped last night, and I think you'll enjoy it. It's perfect for Saturday listening. It's about an hour. Fantastic paranormal and horror content. And again, I think wonderful, fantastic examples of the kind of entertaining content that has become synonymous with Blackwater Media. And so go ahead and listen to that at some point today. Dark Fall Anthology 3, currently available on the Blackwater Media Facebook page, the American Institute of Metaphysics Facebook page, Paranormal Society Facebook page, the Blackwater Media YouTube channel, and in other words, really, really easy for you to find. Lots of great stories on there with tremendous music and effective and interesting sound effects. Please check that out. Now, should we do a story? Should I give you guys a story? I've got a couple of stories I wanted to play for you guys today. I tell you what, I'm going to do a story, and then I'll come back and talk to you a little bit about the Blackwater Media website. So let's do a story right here. This will be Dogman Terror 1. So you know this is going to be a hell of a humdinger. When I was a boy, my father was the night watchman at a manufacturing plant located in a rural area between Big Rapids and Chippewa Lake, Michigan. Our house, which if I remember right was a perk of the night watchman job, was across the street from the factory. The plant building was right next to a large wilderness area of state land. At that time it was simply known as the Haymarsh, but now it is officially called the Haymarsh State Game Area. We didn't understand it at the time, but Dad was always very skittish about letting us play outside after dark. He would sometimes talk about hearing coyotes or bears roaming around in the Haymarsh when he was walking the perimeter of the building at night. One night in the summer of 1961, Dad walked back to the house to sit on the porch and have a cup of coffee and a sweet roll. He had a good view of the entire plant property. He saw some movement near a chain-link fence behind the building. This was approximately 3 a.m., so he felt quite sure this person wasn't there by accident. He drew his gun and watched for a few minutes. That's when he noticed this was not a person at all, but something much taller. He said it appeared to be covered in brown, gray hair. It had very broad shoulders and a powerful chest. It alternated between walking on 4 legs and then standing up on 2. He said it seemed to be looking for something along the driveway. He said later he couldn't quite believe what he was seeing. He quietly moved into the house and grabbed his Kodak Signet 35mm camera, which was his pride and joy. At this point, I should mention that Dad was quite a photography buff. His father had owned one of the first camera stores in Ohio, and Dad got the shutter bug from Grandpa. As he stepped back onto the front porch, the creature moved slowly along the driveway, directly under the lights. He adjusted the camera shutter for a long exposure, held it as still as he could. He said he was shaking pretty badly by then, and snapped a picture. Dad said a few seconds later, the thing dropped back down onto all 4s and slowly moved off into the woods. He sent a print to the local newspaper and sent copies to several magazines. One that I think was called Mysterion published a photo in their spring issue of 1962. Dad had a copy of the magazine for years, but it was misplaced after he passed away. I still have the negative strip that contains this image if you'd like to have someone examine it. I also still have Dad's Kodak Signet. I haven't shot any pictures with it for several years, but I'm pretty sure it still works. There you go, guys. That is Dogman Terror 1. And like I said, it's a hell of a thing. These Dogman stories are just, I mean, there isn't one that I'm aware of that just isn't some of the most terrifying stuff I've ever heard in my life. So anyway, but I wanted to share that example with you. And again, kind of indicative of what you get from Blackwater Media. We'll do another story in a little while, but I wanted to, let you guys know that the Blackwater Media website is coming along. We now have, at least we have a domain name. It's going to be blackwatermedia.net. Now you can go up there right now and you can start seeing how there's been a few things switched around, a few things changed, a few alterations, what have you. But it's blackwatermedia.net. Go on up. And listen, I actually would prefer, especially if you're a newcomer, if you are a longtime supporter, go on up there and click on the Anthologies tab, click on the Shadowland Radio Show, click on the Darkfall tab, Historian's Almanac, and what have you. And go ahead and start listening there too, because I would like to drive some traffic to the website and maybe not, so aggressively facilitate the habituation of YouTube. I love it when you listen on the Facebook pages because it's almost the same thing. It's showing support. I like it when you share and become a follower of the page. But also, going up to blackwatermedia.net and you can become a listener there too, and getting traffic there also. And, if you really want to support Blackwater Media, because we've talked about, the upcoming opportunity to become a Blackwater Media Swamp Hunter Society premium content member. I mean, that's obvious. I mean, because basically you're buying access to this amazing content. But another way is just go up and generate traffic on the website. And, that kind of forces the internet, that kind of coerces, like Google and these type of things, to give the page more recognition. So traffic will generate more overall online attention for the page. And of course, that's what we want. There's a Blackwater Media Swamp Hunter Society page that's under construction right now. And you can just go up there and see what all is, on the table for you. Again, premium content coming. I'm going to play you now, and it just popped into my head. Since I played you Dogman Terror 1, I'm going to go ahead and give you Dogman Terror 2. And so we'll be right back after this story. And again, this will scare the shit out of you. I recently recalled an experience from my childhood that had been repressed in my mind since I was about 4 or 5 years old. As a child, I grew up on a 20-acre lot just on the outskirts of Cadillac, Michigan. At that time, there was more tree coverage and fewer industrial sites in the area. We were mostly surrounded by woods. One early summer morning, I had gotten up before dawn to watch my dad get ready to go off to work. Some mornings he'd get up at 3:30 to 4 a.m. to start his days. Me and my mom would get up and send him on his way. Daily routine back then. He'd always put on his work pants and work shirts over his regular clothes and proceed to go out to his truck and load his equipment for the day. His work clothes were the dark and mossy looking material, really coarse feeling. In the darkness, he looked really shaggy looking. The morning of my encounter, I had gotten up a little earlier than usual and was very groggy. I stumbled to the large plate glass window and saw something rummaging in the truck's bed over the side of the truck. I assumed it was just Dad, so I banged on the window to get his attention and wave. I was chilled to the bone by what peered back at me. A creature that stood on 2 feet, but for the life of me had the head of a dog, canine-like, but yet somehow human. We locked eyes for what seemed to be an eternity. Strangely enough, though the eyes were not yellow as everyone else seems to see, they were a pale yellowish green in color. I finally mustered a scream and fell backwards off the couch in front of the window. As I was falling backwards, the creature had already hit all fours and was lunging for the window. He started at a good 20 feet away at the truck's back end. My scream had gotten my dad out of the bathroom and into the living room, yelling to my mom to hush me up. He looked out the window and asked me what I saw, but I was just sobbing. He went to the front door and turned on the porch light and found nothing. Annoyed that his morning was off to a not-so-quiet start, he made my mother take me back to bed and he left for the day. I was so traumatized by this experience, I repressed it for all these years. It took looking up the dogman and studying cryptozoology to kick the memory loose again. The house where this took place still stands, with the tree coverage that was abundant as a child is history. Whatever that thing is, I'm sure he's still out there waiting. I tell you what, that's some crazy stuff, isn't it? I'm telling you. Can you imagine an experience like that, a dogman experience as a child, and having to grow up with the trauma and just living in this sphere of abject terror? I mean, there's lots of things, that can terrify or traumatize a child, but my God, so, and that's why, listen, I've heard enough of these dogman encounter stories to the extent to where I don't understand why, I have people ask me, I'm sure this happens to other people who have talked about this topic. I don't know why. There are people out there who will come to me and say, hey, I would like to look for dogman. I would like to find dogman. I want to do cryptozoology. Where did this story take place? Or, that story you told 2 weeks ago, where did that happen? What state, what city, what was that guy's name? And I'm just floored. First of all, when I do a story like that, I mix up all the names of the towns and the cities and the name of the actual participants of the story, the names of the real individuals. Those get all mixed up and changed around for the purposes of anonymity, for the purposes of privacy, and also for the purpose of preventing some of these damn idiots from going out and getting themselves into 10 kinds of shit by trying to look for and deal with this dogman. This, by all accounts, is a very dangerous, highly aggressive, predatory, tactically adept creature, which is incredibly fast, incredibly large, incredibly strong, and doesn't give a damn about having you out in its environment. So I understand why it's interesting. It's one of the most interesting topics I've ever come across. But please, 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 don't go out looking for this creature. Because as far as what I know, in terms of the encounters that I have been exposed to, it's not going to go well for you. So don't do that. Now, premium content that will be available down the road to Blackwater Media Swamp Hunter Society members. Just a little teaser. We have some story titles here. One is called The Insectoid, which, again, when you hear that title, you kind of have to, don't you want to know what that's about or hear that story? We have My Uncle and the Dogman, which will be just as scary as hell, and just an insane story. A really creepy one called The Thing in the Garden, which is disturbing, to say the least. And The Professor and the Dogman. Those are just a few of the titles of some of the premium content stories that will be available on blackwatermedia.net. Those stories will not be on YouTube. Those stories will not be on Facebook, except in a preview format where, I will provide you with a sample, a snippet, a clip of the story, which will encourage you to go on over to blackwatermedia.net and become a Blackwater Media Swamp Hunter Society member. So, listen, hey guys, it's a Saturday. I hope you're enjoying your weekend. I'm going to finish my iced coffee and catch a little baseball today. Please check out Darkfall Anthology 3 on YouTube and on the Facebook pages that I mentioned, the Blackwater Media Facebook page, Paranormal Society Exchange Facebook page, American Institute of Metaphysics Facebook page. Check out Darkfall Anthology 3. You're going to love it because it's lots of fun and it's scary as hell. And hey, I'll see you guys next time. I'm Dr. William Lester, and this has been Swamp Chat.